Hiya, welcome back to my little hobby channel where I talk about stuff that interests me and maybe you. I haven't made a video in a long time, probably a year, so I'm going to ease back into it by presenting this interview with Muhammad Ali that took place when RTE interviewed him when he came to fight a guy called Al Blue Lewis in Croke Park in Dublin, in the stadium in Dublin. Now, Muhammad Ali, in case if you're young and you're watching this by any chance, you might not realise that once upon a time, heavyweight champions of the world, everybody knew who they were. If there was a heavyweight championship fight, the whole world would be watching. Since satellite TV and pay-per-view and all that, nobody really knows who the heavyweight champions are anymore, are the world champions, but it used to be a big deal. And Muhammad Ali is the most famous of all boxers, I'd say. He was revered by people, and if you don't know him, this interview, which is a great interview, will give you an insight into the guy. Top sportsmen, once upon a time, were not just brand ambassadors for this or that. They actually could speak freely, and Muhammad Ali was well known for speaking freely. He had, in case you don't know who he was a young boxer from Louisville, Kentucky. He represented America in the Olympics. He went on to become his later fights, and I'm no fan of boxing like this. You know, it's no coincidence that boxers tend to be poor people. You know, it's a tough game. Muhammad Ali was one of the handsome, good-looking, well-spoken boxers, but he also had an insight into spirituality and politics and the state of America as it was. Very segregated at the time. It's hard to believe now. Like, it wasn't that long ago. Well, I was alive. 1964, the Beatles were causing a storm by refusing to play in segregated venues in America. So it's not that long ago. So he was struggling with this, the Jim Crow laws in America. He was part of the Nation of Islam, he'll mention in this interview. It was a movement at the time, spiritual movement, to try and develop. They didn't think they were ever going to be accepted by white America. They were looking at developing a parallel black society in America. He moved on from that, but he mentions it in this interview. He also refused to go to Vietnam. He'll mention that. He was drafted. He said he didn't have a problem with Vietnamese. Why would he go thousands of miles to fight against brown-skinned people when there were brown-skinned people being treated like dogs in America? So he didn't go. He had all his boxing licenses stripped from him, and he was sentenced to 5 years in prison, which he appealed, and that appeal went all the way to the Supreme Court, and he won it on the grounds that they had never specified why they weren't giving him conscientious objector status. That'll be mentioned here. It's quite an amusing interview too. It's not all heavy. This interview was done by a guy called Cathal O'Shannon, and the two of them seem to get on. You'll see that Cathal O'Shannon was obviously enjoying himself doing this interview. Thrilled to bits to be doing it, I'd say. He's an interesting guy. His father had been involved in Republican and trade unionist politics in Northern Ireland, and he settled in Dublin, and Cathal grew up there. But in World War II, Cathal himself went to the UK and joined the RAF with a fake birth cert because he was underage, and he trained as a Lancaster rear gunner, but was posted to Far East, didn't make it in time for any combat. Made his name making documentary TV for RTE, documentary TV films, and you can see the two of them really get on. This is a great interview. It was a big deal in Ireland. I remember the fuss. I can remember the fuss about it. I was 9 years old at the time. I can't remember, did I watch this interview at the time? I probably did. But it's great. I just discovered it recently. You're going to love it. Bye now. Mind yourselves.
Tonight we have as a guest in the studio a man of whom Time magazine once wrote, "He is Hercules struggling through the 12 labours. He is Jason chasing the golden fleece. He is Galahad, Cyrano, D'Artagnan. When he scowls, strong men shudder, and when he smiles, women swoon. The mysteries of the universe are his toys. He rattles the thunder, and he looses the lightning." Well, he's loosed a lot of lightning in his day, and he's going to loose some more of it tomorrow night in Croke Park. There's no man in the world, I think, whose name is more synonymous with sport today. He says he's the greatest, and maybe he is. I'm certainly not going to argue with him about that. And he says he's the prettiest. Ladies and gentlemen, will you welcome, please, Muhammad Ali. Well, do you think he is the prettiest?
No. I didn't say that. I don't know how that got out.
I wonder. Muhammad, you certainly look fit.
Thank you.
Have you been training very hard?
Yes, I've been working constantly now since my last fight with Joe Frazier, fighting every other month or two. And I just boxed Jerry Quarry, a top-notch fighter. I was in good shape for him. I fought him the first time. He was troubled, but the second time, a lot of the rust was off of him. And the reason he was troubled the first time was because that was my first fight in a 4-year layoff.
All right.
And so I'm ready now. I'm still active and just needed to wipe a little dust off of me since the Quarry fight. I sat down a few days to rest, and I'm ready now.
You're doing a lot of fighting.
Well, yes, I think the boxing game should stay alive. I think every contender should get a shot at the title. The new champ, Joe Frazier, is not doing nothing, fighting once every 7 months, and fighting people that you could beat. And you can't fight, so
You're so right.
I have to keep the game alive because I'm the true champion.
How do you feel about the fight with Al Blue Lewis?
Well, I'm fighting Lewis for one reason, mainly because Frazier won't fight him. George Fulmer, top-notch fighter, won't fight him. Jerry Quarry wouldn't fight him. And with most boxers and managers, this is just a business, and they figure, well, they got a top contender, and he's barely on top, and they don't want to take a chance and lose unless they're paid great. And top-notch fighters fighting Blue Lewis can't receive the proper pay because he's not famous, but yet he's got a chance of beating them, and they have nothing to gain but everything to lose. So I'm fighting him because everybody else is ducking him, and he is a good fighter. Plus, it'll be kind of hard to bring a top-notch, high-ranking fighter here because the price couldn't be put up. So
What sort of a chance does he have with you?
2 chances,
What are they?
slim and none.
I asked for that one. Angelo Dundee has just handed me a piece of paper to say that you hope to go to fight in Tehran in about 3 weeks' time.
Iran and Tehran, yes, we're going to just exhibition, government invitation, and we're working on it now.
So your next big fight, really, I suppose, is with Patterson.
Floyd Patterson, right, the rabbit.
A rabbit?
I call him the rabbit.
Why is that?
Oh, the way he fights. And, he calls me Clay, and the name is now Muhammad Ali. He still insists on Clay, so I'll call him the rabbit. Plus, I'm going to fight the rabbit in the garden. Madison
Square Garden, of course. You then go on to fight Frazier, I gather.
Yes, if he comes out of hiding. He bought a plantation down in South Carolina, some chicken plantation. I know he's a slave, but he don't have to buy plantations. But
What do you really feel about him?
well, he's a good slugger. He's not scientific. He's rough. Physically, I know I beat him. I won 9 rounds. He's already ugly, and I beat him so bad that night. I beat him so bad, and he was so ugly after that fight, his face should have been donated to the Bureau of Wildlife.
You know, he toured here with a show.
I heard he flopped like he do everywhere else. He's got a singing group called the Knockouts, and he thought because they gave him my title, he could go everywhere and draw people and get rich. And I understand he draws 80 people or maybe 1,000 people in the 20,000-seat arena. In London, in a 4,000-seat arena, he drew 12 people.
Well, he
and
did
had the nerve to keep on with the show.
he did a little better here. He got 87 at one, actually, and I think
Yeah.
1,041 at his
And I
at
know
his
I can
biggest.
beat him singing, but I don't call myself a singer. I can come here and fill every place because the people know who the real champion is.
But you have been a singer, too. I mean, you had a show called Buck White, didn't you?
Yes, I was in a play called Big Time Buck White, and black militant play of problems that we're having in America. The play was a flop, but I was a hit. The play lasted 6 days, but the worst critics, my part was a hit. I want to get that straight.
Why is it, do you think, that you draw the crowds? Of all the sportsmen in the world, that you are
Well,
a
mainly-
great crowd drawer?
Mainly personality's got a lot to do with it. A personality, like a salesman's business, depends entirely on his personality. If he's rude and unsympathetic, and then the buyer will hope that he goes away and never come back. But very often, if the salesman is good, he can make a person buy when they don't even intend to. Same with a doctor. He might be the best of doctors. He might have many patients and give them all the medicine he wants. But if his personality is not really right, then his medicine won't make him feel that good. His personality make him feel worse. But very often, a wise doctor can cure a person with word of mouth alone because they realize power of mind is needed. And a lawyer can dishearten a client on one visit if he don't have a personality of victory. Like Joe Frazier, for an example. He's the champion, they say. Number one, he don't have the personality. He can't talk. Very few boxers can get on this show and match wits with wise men like yourself.
Mm.
And,
Wits
plus-
is all I want to match with you.
and very few fighters, if you take the camera on close up, you see my nose and my face. I'm not ugly. I'm not ugly like most fighters. They have noses like that, and their ears are like that. How you feel, champ? I'm pretty. I'm a pretty fighter. And I can, I have a personality. I know how to talk to the wine heads. I have a talk for the your great Mr. Lynch here in the Parliament House, and I knew how to talk to men like you with less intelligence than myself. And no, I was only joking. Just listen to the people
Joke
laugh.
away.
Just listen to the people laugh. Just listen to them laugh. Very few comedians can do this, and that's their job. So like I'm saying, it's personality that attracts. I mean, people of all religions, like in America, I stand up for black people, and regardless to what it costs me, I speak out for what I believe. Like you got people in Ireland fighting for what they believe. I represent this. Also, the draft was something out of my religion teach against, and this made me popular with many people. Then you got the white racists who believe in separation, such as I believe one day the black people in America must go to self, clean up self, help self, do for self. I recognize them. Then you got all the Muslims in Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, Syria, Lebanon, India, all throughout Kuwait, Abu Dhabi, all throughout Libya. They all recognize me because of the name Muhammad Ali. And you add all of this up, all I represent, and then my confidence. I am the greatest. I cannot lose. I'm pretty. And every man believes he's the greatest. Every man would like to be the greatest. Many want to say this, but they fear it. And they see this in myself, and some hate me for it, and some love me for it. So add it all up, and we have a large crowd. Well, Joe Frazier's ugly, he's flat-footed, he can't talk, he can't sing, he can't fight, and no
He can't
personality. No, he's a slugger, a street fighter.
Why do you
He's
think...
not, Joe Frazier's not, don't get me wrong, Joe Frazier's good with his stuff, he's not skillful. Joe Frazier's known for taking a lot of punches. He's not like Floyd Patterson, or say Sugar Ray Robinson, or Joe Louis, or say Jack Johnson, Jack Dempsey. These are great scientific boxers. See, Joe Frazier will take 5 punches to hit you once. So
Why do you think he beat you, Muhammad, then, the last time?
Well, the reason that he got the decision, if you looked at my face and his face after the fight, both eyes were closed, his nose was bloody, his lips was cut, his head was swollen, and he spent 1 month in the hospital. Did you all hear it?
Yeah, surely.
He spent 30 days of intensive care. No phone calls and no visitors. And that's a terrible beating when you have to stay rest for 30 days. But he got the decision. But I'm not complaining. Next time I'll get him. I played too much with him. And plus, I found at the time I was bucking the draft system. I didn't go to the service. And I found out the 3 of the judges was on the local draft board. That's why I lost.
We'll come back to that if we can in just a moment, but could we sort of go right to the beginning of your career? What made you take up boxing as a child in Louisville?
Well, at 12 years old, someone stole my bicycle. I went to a home show where they display cars and refrigerators and household utensils and everything. And I went there and left my bicycle outside and came out. It was a drizzling rain that night, Saturday evening, about 9 o'clock. The bicycle was gone. I just got it for Christmas. Somebody asked me, I asked whether it was the nearest police officer. And they said in the basement of the same building that I just came out. And a fellow named Joe Martin was training amateur boxers in a room about this size. And he asked me to take out an application and learn how to fight so I can beat the fella up in joking fashion who stole my bicycle. So I started boxing.
This led you on eventually to the Olympics. Was this your goal as a child and as a young man? Did you see that the best thing you could ever do was to be an Olympic champion?
I knew nothing about Olympics when I started, nothing. I just boxed just to get on the local television show called Tomorrow's Champions. Every week at Saturdays in Louisville, Kentucky, we have a show called Tomorrow's Champions. And you've heard of the Kentucky Derby.
Sure.
That's where they have the races where I lived. I lived across the street from where they have a race every year. Anyway, I just wanted to get on local television, and I found out how good I was, and I kept on fighting. People say I'm conceited, I talk too much, but they must have pity on me. It's hard to be humble when you're as great as I am. And I won the Golden Gloves, the National AAU, and the Olympics. And then after the Olympics, I had all the gold medals, but no money. So I turned professional.
You told a story on one occasion about coming back from the Olympics with the medal to your own hometown. Did this make you a very big man in your own hometown? Did it completely change your life?
Well, you know, like, made me popular for a few days, but I wanted to do something good with it. So I went downtown. At the time, black people was marching to eat in the white restaurants, and they wanted rights to go where they wanted to. And so I said, I'll take this medal and I'll go downtown and I'll sit down in a restaurant. I got them on the spot now, and then I'll order something to eat. And I went down and I had my medal on, and the lady was looking, and I said, I'd like a cheeseburger. She said, we don't serve Negroes. I said, I don't eat them either, just give me a cheeseburger. Anyway.
How was it, Mohammed, anyway, to be a Negro boy in the South?
We say black now.
All right, black,
I know
all
what
right,
you're talking about.
all right. Is it not the same thing?
What? No, Negro. We are taught that all people are named after country. Chinese are named after China. Cubans are named after Cuba. Irish people are named after Ireland. Indonesians named after Indonesia. Japanese are named after Japan. Australians are named after Australia. But there's no country named Negroes.
Mm. All right, then let me...
You understand?
I understand.
You're not as dumb as you look.
Let me rephrase. Do I look that dumb?
No, I'm joking.
What I really mean is, did you feel that you were deprived, that you and your family and other blacks were second-class citizens?
Did we feel it? We knew it. Not only second class, but about add up all the nationalities you have on earth, and then they come first. Like right now, you can come to my town, and you're more free in America than I am. Even the Chinese, the Japanese, that the black people help America to fight, or even the Germans. A day after the war in Vietnam, the Viet Cong will be more of a citizen than the American Negro. So, like, we might be the 50th class citizens, 60th class, if you really break it down. If we was just second class, it'd be all right.
This is something you feel very strongly about?
Strongly. I know it's the truth. I live right there every day.
What attracted you then to Islam in the first instance?
The Muslim religion?
Yes.
It's the true teachings of Elijah Muhammad right there in America, and the power structure, nobody will challenge him. And the history of ourselves, the history of our true religion, our nationality, our names. See, we don't have our names, you know. I notice how proud you all are, proud of your names. See, Chinese have names like Chang Chong, Lu Qian, this is Islamic teachings. Russians have names like Kosygin or Khrushchev. You have names like O'Connor or Grady or Kennedy. And Africans had names like Lumumba, Nkrumah. And Jews got names like Weinstein and Goldberg. And Italians got names like Dundee and Benvenuti and Marciano. But we have names like Grady and Clay and Hawkins and Smith and Jones and Johnson, but we are black.
These are
So-
the slave names.
Yeah,
This is
so
this is
when
the
I
pointer.
heard this, I knew it was the truth. It's history. So Muhammad Ali is a beautiful black name of our ancestors. So when I heard this, I just had to walk out of the church and Christianity because they never taught us our true knowledge. Then they told me how we were brainwashed in America. We see Jesus, he's white with blonde hair and blue eyes. We see the Lord's Supper, all white people. We see the angels in heaven, all white people. And we look at Miss Universe, a white woman, Miss America, a white woman, Miss World, a white woman. Even Tarzan, the king of the jungles in Africa, he was white. He said, oh, oh, oh. We see a white man swinging around Africa, oh, with a diaper on, oh. He beats up all Africans and break the lion's jaw. And then the African's been in Africa for centuries, but he can't yet talk to the animals. But Tarzan, all of a sudden, some goat raised him up, and he can talk to the animals. So I'm just showing you how the black man in America has been whitewashed his mind. And then we look at the good cowboys. They rode the white horses, and the president lived in a White House. They got TV commercials, White House cigars, white swan soap, King white soap, white cloud tissue paper, white rain hair rinse, white tornado flow wax, white plus toothpaste. The president lived in a White House, and the angel food cake was the white cake, but the devil food cake was the chocolate cake. Everything good was white. And when I heard this, I said, boy, this is the truth. So our religion teaches us the knowledge of ourselves, the knowledge of our culture, the knowledge of our history, makes us want to be with our own, marry our own, live with our own, clean up ourselves, do for self, quit forcing ourselves in white neighborhoods, but clean our own neighborhoods, makes us proud, makes us identify with our own brothers throughout the world. And after I heard this, being an intelligent man, then like I'm not only a winner in boxing or my stand on the draft, I'm a winner also in the movement that I follow for my people. And the only leader is Elijah Muhammad, who we believe was taught by Allah, God himself, to teach the so-called American Negroes the truth that's been hidden from them for 400 years, which will free them.
Why is it, do you think, that black Muslims preach the separation of the races rather than integration of the races, as indeed many American blacks do?
Well, when we say separation, we know that as of now, we always have to be trading with one another, living with one another. But when we say separate, we mean mainly mentally, as far as do for yourself, help self, clean your own neighborhoods and make them a better place to live, and quit forcing yourself in the white neighborhoods because they're cleaner. Respect your women, pool your resources, education, and qualifications for self-independence. And this is what we mainly teach about the separation. And one day, we believe that black people should trade with one another. We've tried integrating for 400 years, and we've been kicked and shot and brutalized. You read about the news for years, and it's not working. So we believe that we should now come and try to do for ourselves. And I understand this is some of your problem in Ireland, where people are tired of being dominated by certain groups. They're tired of being ruled, and they're men, and they want to do for themselves. Same way in all countries. People are just tired, and they're revolutionizing things, and they want to be free. We've been in America under white domination, lynched, killed, raped, castrated, shot down daily, no justice in the courts, deprived of freedom, justice, and equality, and we just now want to be free, and we can't do it. We have found out that we're black and white are disagreeable in peace. They can't get along together, so we think we should just now quit fighting, quit being violent. Now that we're doctors, now that we're lawyers, now that we're mechanics, now that we're educated, we're not needed to pick cotton no more. You got millions of blacks been born every day in hospitals. There are no jobs. We think that we should now go on some land and build and construct and do for ourselves. That's all.
Do you mean, in actual fact, that there should be separate parts of the United States only for Negroes and separate parts only for whites?
Well, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches us that we've been there 400 years fighting. We fought the Japanese, we fought the Germans, we fought the Koreans. If America went to war with Ireland tomorrow, the black people will be over here shooting you so fast. All the black people will be right here shooting you with the American flag. And we believe that since we've been fighting all of America's enemies, not our enemies, worked 400 years, 16 hours a day from sun up to sundown without a payday, that we should now be repaid. Don't give us nothing, and give us or repay us. You got 50 states, then we make up 10% of the population, then divide off 10% of the land, let us build our own stores, make our own, grow our own food, make our own suits, and be like other people, and not always begging white people people for houses, begging for jobs, begging for seat in your restaurant. May I use your toilet? May I ride on your bus? Now that I'm grown and educated, now we're no longer slaves and we can't get along, just let me go and live by myself like other people. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Muslims, of course, don't believe in war, at least. You certainly don't believe in war, and you've demonstrated that by refusing to join the American army. But you have said on one occasion that possibly you could believe in a holy war.
Well, the Holy Quran, our religious book, teaches us that we who declare ourselves to be righteous Muslims do not take no part in wars, no way, fashion, or form, that take the lives of humans unless it's a holy war declared by God Allah Himself. And like this hadn't happened, and if it do happen, then we'll have a way of knowing because our religious leaders speak out. But we don't take no part in wars, not just the Vietnam War, but no war.
But would you fight in such a war, in a holy war of this sort? I mean, how would you know that you should fight?
Well, that's what I'm trying to say. Then we have a leader who will speak, like all countries have leaders, and we have a leader. And like if we attacked, and we're right, we believe in fighting if we are attacked, but not being the aggressor.
You go to South Africa very soon to box. Do you believe in the sort of separation of the races that they have in South Africa, what they call apartheid?
Not from what I hear. I hear it's unequal. We believe in an equal separation, and we'll only fight in South Africa under the condition that the audience not coming to change their policies, not coming to talk about them. We've just been invited. Otherwise, we wouldn't go. And we might not still go. We don't know. But the audience have to be separate, which is the way this has got to be. But the black side has got to be equal to the white side in convenience and seating capacity and everything, and we'll fight on those conditions.
But how will you feel if you go to South Africa and go into a white man's restaurant, if you should perhaps want to, and were refused it? Wouldn't this take you back to the old sort of Louisville situation all over again?
No, I wouldn't. No, I mean, if a man didn't want me in his place, I'd just leave. I wouldn't want nobody to force themselves on me. And I wouldn't be looking for no trouble like that. My mind's too big for that. I don't want to be around nobody that don't want me. I believe I'm the greatest. Well, what I want to be with somebody that's less than me. I'm the greatest. They should want to be with me. That's the way I look at it.
Right. Elijah Muhammad has said something which perhaps a lot of us white people have misunderstood. Perhaps you can explain it to me. He said that white men are devils.
Yes.
What does he mean by that?
He means just what he said. The deeds and the works of the man. He says the American devils. The lynching, the killing, cutting the black people's private out, sticking it in the mouth is what they did to us. I got a book called 100 Years of Lynching written by white men. Taking black women who was 4 months pregnant, they took us for years and hung us up with the feet and stuck a dagger in the stomach and ripped it and pulled the unborn baby out just to put fear in other slaves. They tied up black people to horses and 2 horses and pulled his arms out and pulled his legs out. Lemonade trains with white children and white people of America used to come and watch them tie up 10 or 15 black men and pour gasoline on them and burn them, watch them burn alive. They took us and hung us up with trees and shot us with bullets. They took and cut a hand off and gave it to the little boy and they took the leg off. And this is worse than the devil.
All right, but...
see, the devil, the preacher in the church taught us that the devil was up under the ground.
Right.
And he'll wait till he died before he burn us up. This white devil in America was worse because he burned us while we was alive. He didn't wait till we died. So what I'm trying to say is the deeds and the works. And I think this, if Elijah Muhammad can stand in America for 42 years before my little black self was born and say that the American white man is the devil, then the white man should get up and say you are a lie and carry him to court and say we are not the devil. Not one American, not one government official, one mayor, one senator, none of them will stand up and say that they are not devils and this man is lying. So what am I to do?
Right.
I believe it.
Do you believe that every white man is a devil? I mean, Angelo Dundee, Harold Conrad?
Angelo Dundee's Italian. He's got a lot of black blood in him. Harold Conrad's Jew.
So there are exceptions.
Listen. What I'm saying to you is this. I'm saying that Elijah Muhammad, our leader, teaches us this. And I believe everything he say. So it's not for me to prove that, you must remember, you have not lynched me. It wasn't the Germans that did this to us. It wasn't the white Canadians who's right on our border. He put emphasis on the American devils. He's missioned to America by God to preach the truth. So what I'm saying, let's say we got one white fella in America who has proved that he means right. Let's say we got another one. White people have died in demonstrations for black people. Now, here's the position I'm in. Here's 10,000 whites coming to kill me. And in those 10,000, or let's say here's 10,000 rattlesnakes coming to bite me. And in those 10,000, there was 1,000 that didn't mean no harm. And I knew there was a good 1,000 snakes out there, but they all look alike. Now, what should I do? Should I keep the door open and let the 10,000 in, hoping that the 1,000 will unite and save me and one bite will kill me? Or should I just be safe and shut the door? So we have white people say, I mean right. I have a black husband. Oh, my children are black. I love everybody. I really believe you. But I'm sorry, man, there's 10 more thousand behind you that don't feel that way. I'm just sorry, but what am I going to do? So I like to say this, that I know, I'll bet my hand on my family's life now, that there's some whites that mean right and sorry that they're from this race. But there's so few until it don't really matter, until I can't forget all the lynching, all the depriving, all the murder, everything that's happened, because they're two that mean right.
Right, but don't
See, when America dropped bombs on Vietnam, she drops them.
Okay.
Babies, boys, when she dropped the bomb on Japan, she dropped it. They don't say some innocent, they just said war. So when a person in Belfast leave a bomb, they don't say, well, there's a kid that's innocent in here. There's an old lady, she's blind. They just, boom, throw the bomb. So what I'm saying, not because they do, we have a problem. It's black and white. And maybe there's a few voices, I mean right, but there's so many that don't. So we have to look at the problem as a whole. I want to get that plain. I know there are whites that mean right.
Okay. You yourself have some little white blood in you.
Yeah, what are you saying?
You feel totally Negro, or do you feel
black?
Yeah.
Well, nobody is really totally. Like Chinese are yellow, they say, but they're not really yellow. They say you white. Well, give me something white. You don't look white. Here's white. See, this is white. You're not white. You're kind of pinkish.
Okay.
You're not white. See, that's
white. Right.
So I'm not black, but I'm considered black. But as far as the blood is concerned, some people say, you talk so bad about us in America. You have white blood in you. How did I get white blood in me?
Well, you know,
way back 100 and something years ago, the old slave master's wife used to get tired, and he would sneak back in old Granny's shack. And old Granny had big hips, and she was pretty and had a big breasts and big legs, and she was strong. She worked all day to clean up the white lady's house, raise the white lady's babies, and the old white lady was tired and weak, and old black slave was back there all strong, and he would slip back at night and close the door, and you know what he would do?
I can guess.
You can guess what he would do, and then here come me, half black. See?
If we can get back to fighting for just a moment. When a fight is coming up...
They laughing because they know what I'm talking about.
Everybody knows what you're talking about. But when a fight is coming up, you, it appears to me, deliberately build up a lot of pressure to intimidate your opponent.
And it intimidates the people. See, in America, the black people are always taught to be humble. You know, yes, boss. I'm sorry. Hey, boy, break. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. And never has a slave got up and said, I am the greatest. I'm beautiful. I'm pretty. I cannot lose. They said, that nigger talks too much. The nigger needs a good whooping, and they pay money to see me beat. And I go to the bank laughing, 100,000, 200,000, 300. I am the greatest. That nigger talks, he's cocky. 1, 2, 3. So, like, this is why I build up. Like when I fought Jerry Quarry, I said the last of the white hopes. You know.
But I saw
so
you
this
looking,
builds up.
I saw you
tension.
looking at Jerry Quarry at the weigh-in the other night on television last month, and you were giving him this stare, and he was staring back at you. Was he frightening you, or were you frightening him, or was neither of you frightening the other?
Well, I don't think neither of us was frightened, but I'm psyching him, so he lets me know he's not scared. But I don't see him or see me. I see people like you watching, but mainly in America. And they were looking and building it up to be a race war. I said, you don't stand a chance. I'm gonna run you out of the ring. And people in Alabama, Mississippi, and Georgia, whoop that nigger! He talks too damn much! Hey, let's go see this fight! I don't really hate nobody, but people are so small-minded, it's easy to lead them. You know how you ever see the wrestlers? How there's always a good wrestler and a bad one. And he sticks his finger in his eye, and the guy shakes it off in 2 minutes, his eyes clear up, and he sticks it in again, and he hits his back, and everybody hate him. He'll win the first round. And then the second round, the good fella wins, and that's what everybody come to see, though. Bad villain be beat up. I like to be the villain. But the things I'm telling you now, I won't tell in America on television because they'll start liking me. They say, oh, he's just tricking us. But when I get back to America, I'll be bad.
But you talk to people in the ring. You appear
I
to
want
be...
to smile, but I don't.
You appear to be talking to...
What'd you say?
You appear when you're fighting.
I do.
Quite often.
I do.
To talk.
I talk.
What are you saying?
Well,
or can you repeat that?
Well, some of them I won't repeat. But I have a few things to say to, not for the public, but to confuse my opponent. Like I might say to a white fighter, listen, while I'm in the clinch, the Black Panthers are outside. You don't stand a damn chance tonight, boy. Now burn your house down. He look at me, this guy's crazy. I have a lot of things I say.
Do you ever get into the ring hating the man you're
No,
going to fight?
never.
Do you get in with anxiety or fear?
I'm nervous because of the talking that I do, and I have to back it up. I think about people. I'm on a hell of a spot. I'm on a heck of a spot. Can you imagine Blue Lewis whooping me? I'd have to.
Frankly,
I couldn't
no.
go back to America. No.
Do you have any private life at all, Mohammed?
Yeah.
Because all the time I've seen you in Ireland, up in your hotel and back and forth, people are staring at you, looking at you, wanting to touch you, wanting to talk to you.
Yeah, I have private life.
Well, you're a young man of 30. This seems to be a perpetual trot around the world that you do with people, Hey.
When I'm out, I rest at nights, and when I'm at home, like they have a saying, a prophet is never honored in his own home. Like when I leave home, I expect this, I'm new. You let me stay here 1 year and they get tired of me. I'll less than that. You see me every day, I'm coming like the Beatles. When they hit America, at home they were nothing. Tom Jones, and he comes to America, Tom! Be like when I come out, when I go home, I'm tired of that big man.
But the other day I saw...
As soon as I get in.
The other day I saw a small boy sparring and boxing with you and so on. Do men ever try to do this? Does a man ever come up to you and say, look,
If he dreamed it, he better wake up and apologize. Never no trouble out of nobody. I don't have no trouble.
Mohammed, are you a wealthy man?
Yes.
I mean, are you a millionaire?
Oh, 2 times.
Are you a big spender? Do you spend a lot of money?
Yeah, I'm stopping now. Yeah, I got too many cars. I got 6 cars, 3 of them Rolls Royces, which I don't need. And you come up and pour, and you get something, and I find all of them tell me this, and you go out just to say I had it. You really don't need it. The newness wears off, you're stuck with it, you can't sell it, it depreciates. So I'm just saving money now. I have 3 daughters and 1 son, blueprints for 6 more children, and we want to save all I can. So all I'm doing now every month is saving at least 75% of my money for the future of my children, putting it away for 15 years. I don't want to touch it. I don't need it.
You've said that you wouldn't allow your son to become a boxer.
No.
Why not?
Because it's rough, it's dangerous. It's impossible for him to be as good as I am. And I want him to use his brains. I didn't stay in school like I should. I don't have the education. I have common sense. I make it. I don't have no education in books and writing. But I want him to go to school and be a doctor, engineer, maybe a lawyer. something, a judge, just where he can use his brains. And while he's at youth, give him a tutor, all the teachers he need, put up all the money for all the educations, where they can rely. Like, for an example, if I should lose a hand, I'm finished.
Right.
But a lawyer wouldn't, or a doctor wouldn't, see, necessarily. So I want him to get his brains ready.
A lot of doctors do end up broke. Are you better advised than other doctors as far as investments are concerned?
Well, I'm lucky that I have these before me to take an example. And I have mainly Herbert Mohammed, my manager, I have wise advisors, the son of our great leader Elijah Muhammad. And most of them were just brutes, and they didn't have a brain, and they had people, they were victim of the times, using them, and they couldn't box and handle the business too. But I found out that many friends and people, they come to you wanting to borrow money. This happens every day. 90% of my mail from all countries is loan me some money, or my daughter's sick, or I'm trying to go through school, or I want to come to America, or this or that. I found out that the best thing to do is to have somebody to send them to, and he'll tell them that he can't, the budget is low.
The other day I heard Harold Conrad refer to you as the wizard, that you've got a lot of wizardry in you, that you can do a lot of things, you can see into the future, that you can put a hex on people.
Well, I can take, for an example, to show you my power, some silver paper.
Cigarette paper?
Yeah, and I can wet it and fold it and hand it to me. Let me this. And you, this is gold. I don't know if this will work. You have any silver paper?
Might have some silver. Hold on a second. Let me see.
Somebody.
Tom, you haven't got any. Oh, here we are.
Here you go. I can take this right here, for example, and you tell the people the truth. If it don't work, I don't know, maybe on 1,000. I can take this here, and I can fold it up like this. And now you can give me your hand, and I can say, you just watch me and you concentrate. That paper's gonna get warm. So warm until it'll start smoking. And that paper will keep on until it gets hot. Do you feel it?
What do I feel? Can I just see it for a second?
Somebody from the audience? Got a lady, come here real fast. Any lady, come here, any lady. No.
Here's one. Here we are.
Come here, young lady.
Here we are.
Just take your hand and hold this. Quick before it cools off. Is that hot?
It's quite
Just
hot.
just
I'm not
hold it.
fooling. I'm not
Hold it.
fooling.
Is it hot?
Yeah.
Is it hot?
Yeah.
Okay.
He's a wizard. Thank you. Oh, it's still hot. That's not bad.
This paper's actually red hot. It's
That's
really
not
hot.
bad. Quite truthfully, the paper is quite truthfully. It's still hot. It's still warm. Well, I don't know how it's done. But that's not bad. That's not bad. Mohammed, to get back to things a little more serious, you were in the wilderness for 3 years because you refused to join the army. Do you have any regrets that you embraced the religion of
No.
of Muhammad?
No. Well, you know, we are many people like when a man goes to war, he don't consider losing nothing. He's fighting for his country, what he believes. And we don't have no regrets if it's something we do from our heart and we want to do. Like, I didn't have to do it. Something I wanted to do, so I don't regret it, and I'm really thankful that I did. Got strong because of it, and many people believe in fighting for the freedom, and this is just part of what I believed. So it's nothing that I regret, not at all. If I regret it, then it wasn't sincere.
But it lost you not only a great deal of money, but it could possibly have lost you your livelihood. In fact, it could have lost you your whole career. Isn't this
Well,
so?
no, it wasn't.
Has it been
nothing.
worth it?
Well, yes. I mean, I haven't really lost nothing. I'm back in boxing bigger than ever. My salary is double. I'm invited to Peking, Red China. I'm the first one since Nixon from America. Open invitation, waiting when I want to go. I've been through all out of Arabia and Africa, met all the kings of the countries. And peace, the world wants peace, and I represented it. And at a time when it wasn't too popular in America, and now it's common. And I'm not really, I don't pay no attention. And regardless to many people are doing what I did, and they went to jail for it, and you don't read about them. At least I was a case that the world watched. And if I had went to prison, I would have been a famous celebrity. I would have gotten fan mail. I'd have got credit for my stand. But what about the people who nobody knows and they're doing it? So I look at them as being more great, I would say, than I am.
When the Supreme Court eventually decided that you were right and you had a perfect right to do this, you showed no resentment against the men who had kept you away from boxing. You were very quiet about it.
Then I would be a hypocrite if I did, because I expected them to recognize me for what I believed. And they did what they thought was right at the time they took my title. At the time they wouldn't let me box nowhere in the country. They just did what they thought was right. And for me to now to sue them or to condemn them or to speak out against them for doing what they thought was right, then this would be hypocritical. And at the same time, I expected them, although they didn't, to recognize me for what I believe. So how can I get on them for doing what they really believe was right?
Once or twice you've spoken, it seemed to me sometimes sadly, about retirement. Do you still think of retirement?
Oh, I wanted to, but I thought about my children. I watched the baby cry another day, and my wife was late giving the baby milk, and the baby raised hell. Ah! Just hollering. Don't know where they're going to get it, but they just expect you to have it. And I looked at about 6 more coming, and I said, 10 years from now, I won't be fighting. 10 years from now, that baby will just be 10 years old. And I'll need money. He'll need school books. He'll need clothes, bus fare. And then 20 years from now, my daughter will need a house, or she'll need a job. And it'll be shame to say, Muhammad Ali's daughter, a waitress in a restaurant. He made all of those millions. Oh, there's his son over there in here. What I'm trying to say, I can earn enough money in 5 years if I invest it and put it up right to take care of my grandchildren. So I wanted to retire, but after I see these children coming, and after I see that they're going to have a hard time, maybe they won't be blessed to make it like myself, I can knock out Blue Lewis, I can go knock out Floyd Patterson, I can knock out Joe Frazier, I can come back and knock out and if you get your Irish champion, come knock him out, then I can go back over here and knock some, didn't get too much of a laugh on that, did I?
You're in Ireland. Agreed.
So what I'm trying to say, if I can save up about $2 million, which is about how many pounds? People.
That's almost £1 million.
Almost $1 million. If I can save up £1 million, then I can relax and go to sleep and retire and don't have to worry about my children, because this is a hard world. Don't nobody give you nothing. You have to work for it. Right?
Right.
So I'm blessed to be able to beat up everybody. So I want to beat up everybody until I can't beat them no more. If I can go 10 more years, I'm going to keep on doing it.
Good. Most of your poems, like the one you spoke a few moments ago, are funny. But you've written one about your own people, I think at the time of the Attica prison riot. It's a serious poem. You have certainly very serious moments, as you've shown us tonight. Could you, before we go, just say that poem for us?
Oh, this poem explains the Attica prison. You heard that over here when all the black prisoners were shot, and just before they held some white hostages, and they said they would cut the throats if they didn't get what they wanted. And the word was, well, if the throats are cut, then shoot and kill everybody. They found out during the autopsy that the throats were not cut. They just shot them for nothing. The trigger-happy policeman, and that Rockefeller gave word 10 minutes or so, if they don't give up, I think it's the way it went, open fire. And one black prisoner came out to speak to the warden, and he said, you have 10 minutes to surrender. What's your reply? Are we going to come in shooting? And the black prisoner came out, poetic poem. This didn't happen, but this is what I wrote. He said, better far from all I see, to die fighting to be free, what more fitting end could be? Better surely than in some bed where in broken health I'm led, lingering until I'm dead. Better than with prayers and pleas are in the clutch of some disease, wasting slowly by degrees. Better than of heart attack are some dose of drug I lack. Let me die by being black. Better far that I should go, standing here against the foe, is the sweeter death to know. Better than the bloody stain on some highway where I'm lain, torn by flying glass and pain. Better call in death to come than to die another dumb, muted victim in the slum. better than of this prison rot. If there's any choice I've got, kill me here on the spot. Better far my fight to wage now while my blood boils with rage, lest it cool with ancient age. Better violent for us to die than to Uncle Tom and try, making peace just to live a lie. Better now that I say my sooth, I'm gonna die demanding truth while I'm still akin to youth. Better now than later on, now that fear of death is gone, never mind another darn. They opened fire on them, but they died telling it like it was.
Muhammad Ali.
I have another thing to say. This is one thing. This is one thing I love and I admire about the Irish people. I studied a little of the history since I've been here. I found out you've been underdogs for years, hundreds of years, people dominating you and ruling you, and you can identify with this freedom struggle, you understand? But I just have mine on the other side of the water. But we all are fighting for the same cause and idea, but we have different reasons and different approaches.
Muhammad Ali, thank you very much.
You're welcome.